Please be seated. Good morning to the graduates of the class of 2025, to your families, to your friends, loved ones, to faculty, to staff, to alumni, and our distinguished guests. Welcome to what I believe to be the most meaningful and most joyful day of the year for Pitt Law graduation commencement. Today is about achievement. It's about transformation. It's about possibility. This graduating class didn't just complete law school. You made your mark on Pitt Law. Through passion, through determination, and vision, you helped move this institution forward. You didn't just go through the motions. You helped shape this moment in Pitt Law history. Your leadership, your creativity, your commitment are why we're here celebrating you today. We're also celebrating Pitt Law. And there's something happening at Pitt Law, something magical at this very moment, very inspirational over the last year or so. There's a sort of a remarkable transformation at Pitt Law. And you can feel the energy at Pitt Law, not only in the law school hallways, but the classroom and within the 3L class. And I have some ideas for why that might be the case here at Pitt Law, why we're experiencing this moment of inspiration, this moment of magic. Here are a few of them. Just this February, Pitt Law ranked #1 in the state of Pennsylvania for bar passage in February. An amazing accomplishment. And 2 of our students had the highest scores out of all of Pennsylvania in the written and multiple choice portions of that exam. An extraordinary achievement for Pitt Law. Our graduating class today, we're at nearly 90% in growing in job placement. An incredible feat. These are real clients, real jobs that our students are taking on. They're rooting themselves in our firms, in our courts, in our agencies, our nonprofits, our companies across the country and here in Pittsburgh. An incredible class. Our law school rankings. We've jumped 12 spots in the U.S. News and World Rankings just this year, the largest leap out of any law school in Pennsylvania. And our law school applications have gone up significantly, 60% from this time last year. That's just not, people who want to think about going to law school. They are wanting to come to Pitt to be part of our future. And our alumni are giving millions of dollars to Pitt Law in order to help us become a better school. That's just not generosity. That's belief in our vision here at Pitt Law. And our amazing faculty and staff, we have a record number here today who have come to support you, the 3L class, and to support you in this incredible moment. These achievements aren't just numbers. They're the product of our community's hard work, the 3L's hard work, the vision, and the commitment of excellence. They reflect how far we've come as an institution, but they also reflect how far we're determined to go as an institution and as a law school. The 2025 graduating class helped build this momentum and this moment. You brought your energy, your advocacy, your creativity, and your ambition. You led, you challenged, and you have unequivocally changed Pitt Law for the better. And if anyone here is wondering what kind of lawyers the world is about to get out of this 3L class, let me be clear. Brilliant ones, compassionate ones, determined leaders. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at some of the accomplishments and successes our students have had over the last year, the 3Ls. And I'm going to name a few of you here. Sarah Ferguson, who recently won the best essay out of all of Pennsylvania, was awarded by the Pennsylvanians for Modern Courts. That's the kind of graduate that we are graduating here today. Cole Parker, who just recently had a publication offer in the Journal of Law, Literature, and Culture, a peer-reviewed law journal. That's what we do as faculty members, and here we have a 3L going out into the real world publishing. In our environmental law and policy competition, students 3Ls, Emily Grecu, Maura Herbick, Abigail Smith, Katie Vossler, and Professor Joss Ash ended up having a first-place competition win. That's incredible. These are the successes. I could go on, but Dean Alley's not going to allow me to do that.
That's not true.
So to all of our 3Ls, your accomplishments reflect the passion, the intellect, and perseverance that define Pitt Law. We are incredibly proud of you, and we can't wait to see how you continue to make an impact in this legal world. To the families and friends who are out here today, welcome. To the families and the friends, thank you so much for all that you have done for the 3L class. With the late night calls, the patience, the encouragement, the sacrifices, the pride, you've been the rock, and this celebration is for you as well. And to my colleagues, faculty and staff here behind me, thank you. Thank you for all that you have done. You are the soul of this law school. You didn't just teach our students, you built confidence, you demanded excellence, and you shaped character. And for our alumni, as we celebrate Pitt Law and your achievements, 3L, it's fitting that we're here joined by someone who exemplifies what a Pitt Law degree can achieve, Gregory Jordan, class of '84. His career is a masterclass in legal leadership, and his continued connection to Pitt Law is a powerful reminder of the lifelong community you're joining here today. He's inspiring the next generation of Pitt Law changemakers, and I'm looking forward to hearing his comments here today. And finally, I do want to make one mention to a very, very special alum, to Pitt Law, and to me personally as dean. As many of you may know, I'm a Pittsburgh native. Came up out of the Allegheny County foster care system. Grew up in a large foster home with 11 children. And fast forward to September 2023, my adoptive mother passed away, and we had a memorial out in St. Paul's Methodist Church, out in North Hills. My wife and 2 daughters and I were walking into this memorial, and families and friends were congregating, and there was an elderly man, white hair, white beard, who walked up to me. He shook my hand and said, "Pleasure to meet you again, Vice Dean Dickinson." I said, "Wow, who is this?" He then proceeded to say, "I haven't seen you in 35 years. Now at that point I said, "Wow, that means I would have been 3 years old." And then he said, "The last time I saw you, you were in your mother's arms in the Orphans Court Division in downtown Pittsburgh. You were walking away with her. And I had just got done representing you in your foster adoptive proceedings. I was the lawyer," he said. I said, "Wow." He said, "My name is George Patrone, Pitt Law in 1976. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Why are you here?" And he said, "Well, I learned about you and your past, and I learned that you were the Vice Dean of Pitt Law, and I put 2 and 2 together. You were that young kid who I represented in those adoption proceedings back in the late 1980s. He said, "I wanted to be here to meet you, and I wanted to pay respects to your mother." And remarkably today, we have an opportunity to have George Patrone here today. And so, George, I'd like you to stand up. Without George, without a Pitt Law alum, I wouldn't be the dean here today at Pitt Law. That moment stayed with me for a long time. And you know what? It was a reminder of how Pitt Law alumni leave lasting impacts in people's lives, often without realizing just how far those impacts reach. It's alumni like Greg Jordan and George Patrone who make Pitt Law what it is today, a community of compassionate, caring, and dedicated individuals who go far beyond practicing to make a difference in the lives of others. And like George and Greg, this 2025 graduating class will leave lasting impacts on many people, often in ways you may never know. That's the power of a Pitt Law degree. These 2 gentlemen are living testaments to the power of a Pitt Law degree. And so with that, let's begin this celebration. I get the honor of introducing my good friend and colleague, Dean Allie Linsenmeyer, who's going to introduce us to the next speaker. With that being said, hail to Pitt.
You did a great job. Good morning. I am so excited to be here to celebrate the class of 2025, and I am even more pleased to have the honor of introducing our first student speaker, SBA President Alexandra Holland. During her time at Pitt Law, Alexandra has served as a Student Bar Association president and 2L class representative, where she proudly and diligently advocated on behalf of her fellow classmates. Additionally, she has served on several Pitt Law committees and in various organizational roles, including the Standards and Petitions Committee, the Appointments Committee, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. She was vice president of the Black, Asian, and Latinx Legal Alliance, BALA Plus, secretary in the Black Law Student Association, BALSA, student representative for the Sports and Entertainment Legal Society, and member of the Pitt Law Women's Association. So clearly she never slept. Alexandra also served as a representative for the ABA Law Student Division, Pitt's Graduate and Professional School Graduate Council, as well as the University Council on Graduate Studies. This year, in her role as president, Alexandra has had the honor of serving as a student representative on our Dean Search Committee, where she and many Pitt Law faculty and staff members successfully reviewed and interviewed multiple candidates before successfully electing our current and new dean of the law school, Dean Jerry Dickinson. Additionally, Lex has worked as a teaching aide to Professor David Herring, teaching constitutional law to local high school students at the Neighborhood Legal Academy, and worked as an associate editor on the Pittsburgh Tax Review Journal, where she wrote her student note on the implications of federal and state tax reforms on Black farmers in North Carolina. She also, alongside fellow graduate Jordan Fields, spent significant time conducting research and establishing foundational introductory writings for Representative Rabb's reparations bill for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. During law school, Lex worked in-house both summers with U.S. Steel and the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh, but she will be relocating to North Carolina for future employment after the bar. My understanding is Pittsburgh weather may not be her favorite. Prior to enrolling at Pitt Law, she earned her BA in political science with a concentration in legal studies and a minor in international business from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, more commonly known as Virginia Tech. Her 4 years as a Hokie were transformative as she became a member of the Theta Pi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, worked on and off the track with the Virginia Tech track and field sprints and hurdles team, and worked directly with the U.S. Department of State to perform and analyze research for the Moroccan-United States Free Trade Agreement, and spent a summer working abroad in Barcelona, Spain. She is a proud North Carolina native, and she continues to share her Southern charm with what she would call her fellow Yinzers, her words, not mine. In her spare time, she loves taking her 3-year-old Doberman Astrid to the park, traveling, cooking, and attending as many concerts and sporting events as she can. It's been my personal pleasure to get to know and love Lex during her time at Pitt Law. And although she's leaving Pittsburgh, she emphasizes this is not a final goodbye, but rather a see you later to all of us. So please join me in welcoming Lex to the podium.
It seemed really long. I didn't think it was that long. But hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Alexandra, or Lex. It's been an honor being you guys' SBA president. And with that being said, we'll get started. But in a perfect world, well, in my world, everything's perfect. I get up here, chat about how proud we all are of each other, you know, how hard it was, how happy we are to be done, say go birds as a Chiefs hater, and sit back down. But I'm told I'm not allowed to do that. And maybe I should, but I won't. But I mean, to my knowledge, I've never really known anyone to be upset about a speech being longer than usual. I mean, think about the last time someone got up here and started talking, not you, Dean Dickinson, but like anyone else, you know what I mean. But since I'm up here for a little bit, I'll be brief, and hopefully you guys enjoy what I have to say. First and foremost, I want to congratulate my classmates and all the graduates today for completing such a huge milestone. I don't know about the rest of you, but this day could not have come faster for me. Although I've enjoyed my classes, my professors, my friends, Dean Alley, and more, there's an indescribable feeling of excitement that comes with finishing something you worked so hard for. We've all gone through unknown and sometimes known struggles to get to where we are today. Some of us have made sacrifices that others will never know, understand, or ever experience. But I think that's the beautiful thing about law school. We all come to learn basically the same exact thing and then relearn it again for that terrible exam in 2 months. And yet each one of us takes away something completely different in terms of our lived experiences. And I want to focus on that. Because in a world where information and misinformation is so easily accessible and so easily conflated, we must remember who and what we do this for. I mean, even if you're like me and you're simply excited for your first real job post-law school so you can afford your ridiculous shopping habit and spoil yourself and my dog, there's still a deeper meaning as to why and what made you pick the law to do that. And yeah, some of you said I'm a med school reject or math isn't for me at orientation, I remember, but there was still something about the law in particular that made you say, this is it. This is my choice. And yes, there are some of you like, no, it's absolutely about the money and that's fine, but we'll get to you later. For me, I've always known. It was like this inherent thing that just clicked with me, and I kid you not, elementary school. And not in the same way being a career politician or a police officer. It was about being an advocate, demanding the world and then some from my client. And at that age, wearing the power suit and taking no prisoners. That was a dream. And whenever anyone asked me why, I simply said, because I want to. And that was good enough for me, so it was gonna have to be good enough for everyone else. And it was. Eventually, the whys turned into that makes sense. People quickly realized I wasn't going to argue with them contrary to popular belief. And when I did argue, they realized even quicker that I was not the person to argue with. For me, it was pretty set in stone who and what I was doing this for. Me. That is until life started lifing, and I had to ask myself why and for whom. Because you see, life has a really funny way of changing everything around you to make you really focus on what it is inside of you that keeps you going. I went through a lot, just like anyone does. And all things considered, I think I did things okay. I went to college, met a boy at 19, and you know what they say about the one at 19, so it's safe to say that I didn't smoke. But anyway, I joined the greatest sorority on the planet, skewy to my sorors. I studied abroad, I picked up a new language, I lost it, graduated from college from my living room, made obnoxious and trendy TikToks during the pandemic, worked a couple legal jobs, and then I got into law school. Pretty easy. The girl who's had it all figured out, well, she did it, and now she's graduating law school. Easy. Well, that's what most people saw, at least. What they didn't see is what I lost. I lost friends, coaches, even my dad along the way. I watched the world stop and millions lose family members, friends, and loved ones during the pandemic. I watched people that looked like me die on camera what felt like every single day. I watched my world and the worlds of many others crumble last November, and I've seen people go from living in bliss to living in immediate fear and paranoia. I had to reevaluate myself at every turn and really ask myself, why are you doing what you're doing? Who do you even do all this for? Because for the first time in my entire life, especially as a younger sibling, doing things solely for me was not enough. Because being selfish is how the world got to where it is now, and I refuse to be like them. We're a people-facing and service-based industry, whether you like to think so or not. We quite literally are the people who end up making the rules. We create the change that impacts generations to come. The world is scary right now, and I won't clarify or explain that statement. It's terrifying out here. For education, for the law, for freedom, for a lot of different things, and for a lot of different people. People are fighting battles we may never know about, and sometimes, unfortunately, don't always win. But for those who have won, you don't see them cowering in a corner or throwing their hands up and giving up. In fact, if I ask the strongest person in here, whether it be physically, mentally, or whatever it may be, I bet you they'll tell you that they're here today because they kept going for someone other than themselves. Sure, maybe they'll say they did it for themselves, but most people know when you're really going through it, and I mean really going through it, doing it just for yourself is not enough. To my classmates, we're in a period where doing it for ourselves isn't enough anymore. There are people in this world who don't even know us yet, who may never know us, who need us. And not to sound too cliche, but the world needs us. Academia, the justice system, your neighbors, your girlfriends, your queer friends, your minority friends, and so many more need us right now. So, whether you align with my understanding of the world or not makes no difference to me. Whether you cheered or booed on November 4th doesn't really matter at this point either. What matters to me is whether or not you've let the world changing in the way that it is harden you and make you give up, or dig deeper and fight harder. And as a black woman, I've generally fought my entire life. I'm truly tired. But the moment I stepped into the Barco Law Building in 2022 and took my oath at orientation, I made the active choice, just like the rest of you, that even when I'm tired, even when I'm exhausted, and I want to give up, I can't. And I won't. Because there are people that fought, literally bled, and died so that I can be here. There are people who didn't get to see me make it to the finish line. There's an audience above rooting for me and pushing me through all the battles that I fight from here on out. So on this Thursday, May 2025, I implore you all to remember who and why you do what you do. Because these are trying times. And these are the times where if you're not careful, you can become resentful, angry, and ultimately selfish. And we need more selflessness in this career field and in this world, despite what we may see. Reflect on your time in law school, laugh about the silly things and the not so silly things, dread the unnecessarily long 2-day exam in July, and celebrate however you want. Well, Professor Weibel would encourage me to say that we should still follow the model rules of professional conduct because character and fitness is forever. But after all of this, please relax. Enjoy time with yourself and your family. And remember that what we do with this degree can be used for things greater than we imagined for the people who couldn't even imagine this far. For those who came before us, fought for us, and the ones who will be here long after we've gone, we owe them our absolute best shot. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2025.
Thank you, Lex. It's my pleasure now to introduce Joe Carna, who is the class president of the University of Pittsburgh School of Law's class of 2025. A native of Western Pennsylvania, Joe hails from Newcastle. He graduated cum laude from Duquesne University in 2022, where he dual majored in accounting and finance. During his time at Duquesne, Joe demonstrated leadership as an active participant in Greek life and was a proud member of the Financial Management Honor Society. At the University of Pittsburgh School of Law, Joe focused his studies on tax by participating and completing the tax law concentration. He gained invaluable hands-on experience through his work in the Low-Income Taxpayer Clinic, where he developed a profound commitment to pro bono tax work, particularly for incarcerated individuals. Joe also contributed to the Pittsburgh Tax Review, serving as an associate editor. Beyond his academic achievements, Joe was deeply engaged in student leadership throughout his law school time. He served on the Student Bar Association as a 1L representative, then treasurer, and ultimately now as 3L class president. Joe extends his heartfelt thanks to Pitt Law's faculty. I feel a little odd reading this, but he did write it, particularly Dean Alley, Professor Weibel, and Professor Stewart. So I just wanted to put the caveat out there that that was his words, for their unwavering support both professionally and personally. Upon graduation, Joe will be joining Tucker Arnsberg, where he will practice in the firm's business and finance group. It has been a true joy working with Joe, and I will miss seeing his warm smile in Barco now that he's graduating. Please join me in welcoming Joe to the podium.
Good morning, faculty, staff, parents, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2025. Graduating is bittersweet because on one hand, we are done with law school. But on the other hand, bar review takes on an entirely new meaning. But this is a task I know the class of 2025 is ready for. Making it to the graduation stage was no easy feat. I think everyone here can attest to that. But classmates, I have news for you all. Pitt may have prepared us for this moment, but things will not get easier. We just get tougher. We just get better. But no, things will not get easier. There's only one way to get tougher, one way to be better. And it's through struggle. You see, everyone struggles. One way or the other, we have all struggled to do the things that we have to do. Struggle is often looked to as a bad word, something to avoid. When I hear the word struggle, I imagine an arduous task, like pushing a boulder up a steep hill. Doesn't sound like fun. Now I want you all to envision a moment in your life when you struggled, when you really had to push that boulder up that steep hill. You worked and worked and worked, and finally, you made it to the top. You overcame your struggle. Was it really so bad? Knowing you overcame this struggle showed you that you were ready for the next steeper mountain. I say this because we all must recognize that struggling is not a setback, but it is an opportunity for growth and transformation, an opportunity to get stronger. Struggle has defined all of our times here at Pitt Law. It certainly has defined mine. Whether it was pulling an all-nighter trying to get your 1L brief to format correctly, cramming for that final exam, or going to interview after interview, hoping to get that call back. I know each and every one of us has struggled in law school. I'll be honest with you all, the struggle almost had me. During 1L, I had a difficult time finding myself and finding my purpose. After an interview that went far from perfect and a difficult time with my courses, I questioned my existence at this law school. I struggled. But then after 1L, after getting that boulder to the top of the hill, something happens. The taste of resiliency when you turn in that last exam is so sweet that it all just clicked for me. That is when I realized the struggle was worth it, that the struggle made me stronger. We have all had to struggle to get what we want. We have all had to struggle to earn this degree. Not everyone has the mental fortitude to take the journey we all took. Pitt Law knows this and knew that we had the potential in us before we ourselves knew what we were capable of. Class of 2025, our greatest struggles are yet to come. This is no cause for concern. You see, this is why we came to Pitt Law, because Pitt Law taught us how to turn pain into power and struggle into strength. Class of 2025, we have a tough road ahead. We are going to struggle. It's time for all of us to embrace the struggle, because struggle is what makes us tougher. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Pitt Law class of 2025 are the strongest group of students to ever walk out of the Barco Law Building. So as we walk off this stage today, degree in hand, heads held high, let us carry the struggle with us, not as a burden, but as a badge of honor. Because we didn't just survive law school, we conquered it. We struggled, we grew, and now we stand here today stronger than ever. The world may not get easier, but that's okay, because we get tougher. Congratulations, Pitt Law Class of 2025. Let's go show the world what real strength looks like.
Thank you, Joe. It is now my final pleasure to introduce our 3L class Vice President, Emily Maloney. During her time at Pitt Law, Emily has served as a 2L class representative and now 3L Vice President for the SBA. Emily worked with Professors Lipton and Tragone as a legal writing teaching assistant. She served as an academic success TA with Professor Weibel and Dean Alley, and served as a professional responsibility TA with Professor Weibel. Additionally, Emily has served on Pitt Law's Law Review, first as a staff editor and then as a senior research editor, as well as represented the law school as a Pitt Law ambassador. During law school, Emily worked for Bowles Rice as a summer associate, then at Cozen O'Connor as both a summer associate and a labor and employment law clerk during the academic year, and she will return there to the firm as a full-time associate after she completes the bar exam. Before attending Pitt Law, Emily received her BBA in music business from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. Emily is a proud Pennsylvanian growing up in Oakdale, PA, and is excited to start her career staying here in Pittsburgh. During her spare time, Emily enjoys singing, spending time with her family, and especially enjoys Maisie and Bentley, her 2 fur babies. I'm also excited to share that Emily just got married to her high school sweetheart literally a month ago, so it's been a big 2 months for Emily. Emily truly embodies kindness in everything she does. Community to me is very important, as all the law students who are about to graduate know, and Emily has a gift of bringing people together, which is why it's so fitting to have her present the next award on behalf of the graduating class. It's my pleasure to invite Emily to the podium.
Above all, the faculty of the law school are teachers and mentors to their students. Each year, the students of the graduating class vote for the faculty member who best embodies the spirit of Robert T. Harper, a faculty member at Pitt Law who practiced and taught in the areas of healthcare business transactions and business organizations. Professor Harper so embodied the spirit of excellence in teaching that the award was named for him after his untimely passing in 2012. It is my great honor to announce this year's winner of the Robert T. Harper Excellence in Teaching Award to Professor Ben Bratman.
Very nice. I really want to offer my heartfelt thanks to the class of 2025 for voting me for this very special honor. Teaching at Pitt Law is truly a labor of love, and students inspire me, students motivate me, and so this award really means the world to me. It's as good as it gets, really, for what I do for a living. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also want to thank the faculty and staff, all of them in Pitt Law, for helping to create what I would call a supportive and empowering environment for teaching at the law school, and given me an opportunity to be somewhat innovative as a teacher, and that's wonderful. One of the guiding principles of my teaching is to meet students wherever they are in their learning journey. And this is especially true, and Joe and I did not talk before this talk. I loved the comments about struggle, but this is especially true about those who are struggling academically, meeting them wherever they are in their journey, because I recall my own struggles in law school. And the most important thing I remember when I was a first-year law student and received a C from my torts professor, this was also at a time when I had just had a loss in my family, and it was a really rough time. And that professor hand-wrote me a note after turning in the grades, put it in my law school mailbox, yes, that was a thing, and said, Ben, if you want to talk about your exam performance, please feel comfortable coming to see me. I have never forgotten the power of that very simple gesture, and it informs the way I think about teaching to this day. I want to take the opportunity, having won this award and this very special honor, to offer 2 pieces of advice based on my 32 years since I graduated from law school. The first is, and these are both very simple but very powerful, to work at being kind to and patient with others. And this sounds so simple, but who among us has not sent the snippy email? Who among us has not made a comment that they regret and wish and desire to apologize for? I've definitely done those things. Drawing on the philosopher Martin Buber, I would urge you to strive for what I call an I-thou relationship with other people, not an I-it relationship. They're not a tool for your purposes, the other people you interact with, an it. Rather, they're a person to be valued and cherished. They're a thou. And here's that buzzword, empathy. Try to understand or to actually feel what another person is thinking or feeling. Then use it as a basis for kindness and for patience. Because as we know too well right now, empathy can also be used for unkind purposes. It can be used for cruelty, and it can be used for exploitation. It's particularly important, I think, to be kind to and patient with others in interacting with those of lesser status or lesser means. Court reporters, courtroom clerks, filing clerks, legal assistants, administrative assistants, the cleaning crew outside of the office, the barista, the customer service representative, the cashier, the list goes on and on. Say hello, maybe chat with them, ask them how their day is, say thank you, and if they did a good job, tell them you did a good job. Compliment them. Now, for many of you, your clients will be of lesser status or lesser means, right? And for all of you, probably, your clients will have less knowledge of the legal system and its complexities. So establishing that kind of I-thou relationship and showing empathy-based kindness to a client goes a very long way. Often you will not best serve your client through strong legal research, brilliant legal argument, or sharp factual investigation, but rather through things that for you may seem so basic and so simple, just explaining a legal process of some sort, guiding your client through it, reassuring them about it, and thereby reducing their stress. Not basic and simple to them at all. So kindness to and patience with others, of course, is also important when it comes to those with whom you have conflict or disagreement. I'm not just talking about politics, opposing counsel, a boss you're having a conflict with, a family member, the driver in front of you who is going too slow, is not going fast enough into the tunnel, whatever it is. Do you sense a little bit of tension there? So I wear this multicolored bracelet right here, always, and my fiance bought it for me on Navajo land, just east of the Grand Canyon in Arizona. And I think of it, I've come to think of it as a symbol for me that just like the tie in baseball always goes to the runner, and just like in criminal law, the tie is always supposed to go to the criminal defendant under the rule of lenity, for me, this represents the tie always goes to kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. So my second piece of advice is very similar. It's work at being kind to and patient with yourself. And this one is very hard, right? Because we always engage in self-denigration and we're our own worst critic. Again, I'm very guilty on this one. But to illustrate, I offer the example of my own life, just briefly. 6 years after graduating law school, it was 6 years after I graduated from law school, at age 34, before I discovered the right career for me, which was law teaching. And it wasn't till 25 years after I graduated from law school, at age 53 in 2018, when I took my first improv class and found a true passion. Studying improv performance has increased my self-confidence, made me more comfortable with vulnerability, made me a better listener, made me more empathetic, made me more adaptable when things don't go quite according to plan, and made me more resilient when I mess something up. And I always use messing something up as a piece for humor to poke fun at myself in the classroom. I enjoy doing that. Ultimately, I saw how all these traits I just listed, including being adaptable, being resilient, all the things I listed, how they're so important for lawyers to be successful. And I built the confidence to create an applied improvisation class here at Pitt Law 2 years ago, 30 years after graduating from law school. And I was fortunate enough to have several of you as students in that course. I say all of that to say I'm proud of my journey. It is valid, and I embrace it, and you should be proud of whatever your journey is, even with its various bumps along the way and struggles, as Joe said, and if you're like me, maybe also its later in life discoveries. Even if your confidence right now, for whatever reason, might be wavering just a little bit, you aren't sure you've figured out this law thing or your career path for certain, know that your journey is valid, wherever it takes you, embrace it. And remember, of course, there's a reason they call it commencement. I want to thank you again very, very much and congratulate all of you on your graduating from Pitt Law. Thank you again for this honor.
I wasn't going to take it from you. Thank you, Professor Bratman, and congratulations to you. I vividly remember several years ago when you came to my office when I was vice dean to talk about creating the improv class. And at that time, I thought it was a fantastic idea. And here we are 2 or 3 years later, and I can say that it is one of the most popular courses at Pitt Law. And students are incredibly lucky to have the opportunity to take the course. And I even sat in as an observer to the class at one point, and it is absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Professor Bratman. Congratulations again. Next, we're going to move towards our distinguished commencement speaker, and I have the honor of introducing Gregory Jordan. Pitt Law is thrilled to have Greg back at Pitt, one of our most accomplished alums, and as I mentioned in my introductory remarks, just a masterclass in leadership after graduating from Pitt Law, and a fantastic steward of the law school, and very much inspiring his story and his trajectory in his legal career. This year's commencement speaker, Gregory B. Jordan, Vice Chairman of PNC Financial Services Group. Greg recently retired as PNC's General Counsel and Chief Administrative Officer after more than a decade of transformative leadership. He helped guide PNC through some of the most pivotal moments in its history, including major acquisitions that brought PNC into becoming a true national banking powerhouse. And at PNC, he didn't just shape legal strategy, he shaped the future of the institution, overseeing ethics, communications, corporate philanthropy, and more. Before that, Greg served as global managing partner at Reed Smith, where he led the firm's explosive growth into a $1 billion international legal force with 1,800 lawyers and 25 offices around the globe. Simply put, Greg Jordan built and led at the very top of both the legal and financial worlds. And perhaps even more special is that Greg was my first boss at Reed Smith. I started back in 2012. And as my legal career, I can tell you this, when witnessing my time at Reed Smith, witnessing firsthand the transformations that Greg made at that law firm and across the Pittsburgh legal community. And here in Pittsburgh, beyond just the law firms and the fantastic work that Greg has done, he is also widely known as one of the great mentors in the legal profession here in Pittsburgh. Someone who has guided and supported countless, and I say countless, lawyers throughout their careers, helping shape the next generation of legal leadership with generosity, wisdom, and care. Greg is, and now I'm going off script, Greg is one of those persons who you meet him for the first time and he makes you feel like you're the most important person in the room. His care, his temperament, you can tell that he wants to make a difference in the lives of everyone. And I think that's a really important part of Greg and his trajectory and his leadership skills. He earned his JD here at Pitt Law in 1984, graduating cum laude and a member of both the Law Review and the Order of Court. He's been honored as the Legacy Laureate and awarded the 225 Medallion, the highest alumni recognition at the University of Pittsburgh. And today he serves on the boards of Highmark Health, MSA Safety, Inc., and Pro Bono Institute, continuing his lifelong commitment to service, excellence, and leadership. Greg Jordan's career is absolutely a powerful example of what a Pitt Law degree in education can make possible, and we are honored to welcome him here. Welcome home, Greg, and please give a warm welcome to my good friend, Greg Jordan.
I think you overdid it a little bit there, Jerry, but thank you. Good morning, everyone, and the last time I was here was 41 years ago, so I'm taking it all in here. I'm very proud of the law school dean. We crossed paths at Reed Smith. I saw then he was a dynamo. He's now the youngest law dean in the country. Imagine that. Right here at Pitt. Think about the great things that are going to happen over the next several years. Congratulations to the graduates. Fantastic, super hard work. You overcame challenges, I know. I did too in the old days. Your family helped. They're here. They deserve thanks as well. And to the faculty, which once again turned a bunch of law school rookies into lawyers, as you did for me more than 40 years ago. Well done by everybody. So 41 years ago, I was sitting where you are, and I have good news for you. I don't remember who the commencement speaker was, and I don't remember anything he said. So relax, okay? There will be no quiz after this. I have a few things to talk about, but it's not going to be hard. Lots has changed in the world in 41 years, of course, but one thing that hasn't changed is the impact lawyers and the law have on our society. And one of the big differences between this country and most countries in the world is the impact law has on society. You now have the skills to be involved in that exercise. You've learned how to think like a lawyer, and only somebody who went to law school knows what that means. But what it really means is you know how to take apart a complicated problem, figure out how to put it back together with solutions and which ones are the best, and then advocate for those solutions. So you have a role to play in all this, and society's going to need you. The people who graduated 41 years ago are getting tired. Okay, we need young blood to get in the game, and I know you will, and you'll make Pitt proud when you do. And if you don't believe me, if you read the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times on any given day, skip over the sports pages, most of the articles are one way or another about the work that lawyers are doing. And that's just the way it is, that's the way it's always been, and it's maybe even more so today. So coming from a school like this, you're going to have lots of options in your career, lots of different roles, and you'll probably have many different roles over the lifetime of your career, the way things go today. I'm a dinosaur, and I even had 2 jobs. So you have opportunities. You can be in the private sector, like I was, in law firms or companies. You can be in government, in the judiciary, law enforcement, working in government. You could be a professor, like the talented folks on this stage who helped you get to this point, and on and on and on. And you can do many of those things over time, and I suspect you will. So it's an amazing set of opportunities for you. Society needs you. You're tired from law school, I know, but get involved and play a role as things roll forward. So I'm not going to give a talk at all about law or anything too boring, but I'm just going to talk about some things that, as I look back on my career, seemed like they made a big difference for me, and maybe they'll help you along the way. First one is mentors. As Jerry said, I do like to mentor people. Now, if you all email me, I'm probably not going to get back to you all right away, but I do like to mentor people, and I do because so many great people mentored me. And so my advice to you is find them. They're out there. People like to help young lawyers who are on their way. And if you ask them what they think about things or what you should think about things, they'll tell you. So I would encourage you to keep an eye open, find the mentors, and you'll have some lifetime relationships that you'll be happy to talk about 40 years from today. Second thing is, you know, in law, you join a big company or you join a law firm, and a lot of times you wait and you watch, and you're the low person on the totem pole. And that's okay. That's kind of how it works. But I would say one of the lessons I learned from a mentor of mine was you learn a lot more by doing than you do by watching. So Walter McGough, who ended up as one of the greatest partners in Reed Smith history, started his first job at Reed Smith was as a messenger, and a process server at age 13. And he went to work early because he couldn't stay out of trouble. And his mother got him a job working in the office there. And he progressed. He made it partway through college, but not all the way. He went to the war, World War II, came back and was allowed to skip the rest of college, go right to law school, and then came back to Reed Smith as a lawyer. And he was a rough customer who had some rough upbringing, and I think he took a shine to me because I was a kid from West Virginia. I needed a little polish and help too, and Walter mentored me. And one of the great things he did for me, a few months into my time at the law firm, he called me down to his office and he said, "Greg, I have clients for you." And I said, "That's awesome, but I don't actually know anything." And he said, "Read this memo." He had sent a memo to all the secretaries and administrative staff at Reed Smith and said, "I'm happy to announce you now have a lawyer. His name is Greg Jordan, and he will work for free on any legal issues you have." And so, and he told me, "Get ready, they're going to call you." And they did. And so I learned how to be a lawyer by representing for free the staff of Reed Smith. We had municipal issues. We sued kitchen contractors. We had disputes with neighbors that we got into. I lost 7 trials in a row at one point. Walter thought it was great because I was learning how to put documents into evidence and things like that. Now, these cases were all appealable de novo from small claims court, so nobody really got hurt too much by it, but the clients were a little shaky on it. But that's how I learned how to be a lawyer and how to talk to people. Now, years later, when I was managing partner at Reed Smith, I would have never let anybody send a memo out like that. But it worked for me, and I'll never forget Walter, who's passed now, and I'm very grateful for that. Another lesson I learned is to trust your instincts and speak up. And that is a super easy thing to say and a really hard thing to do. So in my early 30s, I got elected to be a partner in the firm. And Dan Booker was the managing partner, wonderful guy. He asked me to join the management team in my first year in the partnership. Of course, I didn't know anything about managing a law firm. And he asked me to learn how the business works in addition to my practice. And so he asked me to be the person in charge of marketing, which is how do you get more business out of people by selling them. You sell them A and B, how do you also get C and D from them? So Dan was looking to grow the New York office. He found a little law firm in New York, high-powered firm that did bank work. And he said, "Go up there and meet the guys at Hibble and Dibble." That's not really the name, but the story's not so good for them, so I've changed the name. So he said, "Go up there and meet the guys at Hibble and Dibble and figure out what they do, who their clients are, and how we can get more work from them." So I did. I went up to Manhattan, messed around a little bit, went to the office, and I went in and I met Hibble and Dibble. And we were in a little conference room in their little office. And I spent 90 minutes with them. And I walked out of there, and I had absolutely no idea what kind of work they did, who their clients were, or how that little law firm ran, or what they were going to do for Reed Smith. And I drew the very obvious conclusion, which is that I was going to suck at managing a law firm because I had no idea how this made any sense at all. And so I didn't tell Dan that I didn't think they had any clients because I thought I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't trust my instincts, and I didn't speak up. Now, the merger went through, and about 3 months later, somebody in the accounting department figured out they hadn't opened a single file, billed a single hour, or produced any revenue. and somebody older than wiser than me was sent to New York to fire them and undo the merger. And to this day, I've never told Dan that I could have prevented the whole thing had I spoken up. I don't know if he's here tonight, right now, but he may be. But, you know, I did take one thing from that office, which was a pen. It had Hibble and Dibble on it. And I had that pen on my desk at Reed Smith for 20 years. And anytime somebody came in to talk me into something that didn't quite sound right, I would look at that pen and say, no, we're not going to do that. So you learn things along the way, but the biggest thing is don't make the mistake I made. Trust your instincts and speak up. Next one is be alert to opportunities. Embrace the opportunities. That sounds easy to say, but it's hard to do because opportunities don't come when you want them. They come when they come. And you have to decide if you're ready for them or not. And so when I was about 40, I had 2 young children and a wife at home. Dan came to me and said, I'm not gonna run for managing partner after my 9th year here. I'm gonna go back to my trial practice, antitrust practice. And I said, okay, so what happens now? And he said, well, there'll be an election, and I think you should throw your hat in the ring. I said, well, that's a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. Can't I talk you into staying? And he said, no, but you don't have to do it. If you think somebody else will do it better, fine, just keep doing what you're doing. So I had a couple of nights, and he knew I would be thrashing around on it. And I determined that I didn't really feel good about that, so I came back and said, okay, I'll run. I didn't want to run. I had young children. I knew it was going to take me out of the office, out of home, even more than I was. But I felt like I should do it, and I did do it. And I'm really grateful for him that I did it. I had a wonderful time over those 14 years. We did 14 mergers in 14 years. Every merger was better than Hibble and Dibble, I can assure you on that. And we ended up with one of the largest law firms in the world, not because we wanted to be the biggest, but just because we were doing combinations and we went across the U.S. and Europe and the Middle East and Asia, all driven right here out of a little law firm in Pittsburgh that started back in the 1870s. But the message for you is, if it was been easy to say, I'm not going to do it now, I'm not ready for this, but I decided to embrace the opportunity. You'll have that chance in your own world, in your own way, and it probably will come along at a time that's not convenient. And you'll have to decide what you want to do. And in that case, I'm happy that I did it. The last little part of my journey, as Jerry mentioned, I left Reed Smith and went to PNC. Now, most managing partners leave their law firms when the partners are just about to throw them out. And I don't think the Reed Smith partners were just about to throw me out, but they would have at some point, because people get stale in their roles. No matter how much success you have, you get stale. And I kind of felt myself getting stale before the partners knew I was getting stale. So I thought the firm needed new leadership, and I needed a new adventure. And when Bill Demchek called to tell me in 2013 the general counsel spot was open, he wanted me to do it. I wasn't ready for the call, and I told him no. I had a 2-week trip around the world visiting offices, and somewhere on that journey, right before I made it to Kazakhstan, which is really far away from any place you've ever been in the world, I sent him a text and said, maybe I would reconsider this if you haven't hired anybody. And so at age 54, I left Reed Smith. My wife and daughters thought I was crazy to do it because I had the thing down. I knew what to do. I knew the people. I loved the firm. We were doing very well. It would have been the easiest thing to stay, but it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So I left, and I went across the street to PNC. I didn't know anything about banking. We had 50 or 60,000 people. I only knew a few of them. Now they were the people at the top, which helped. But it was a real scary time. But I look back on it now and am really, really glad that I did it. I still get to help PNC a little bit, even in my post-retirement from general counsel as an advisor, and still continue to be part of things. And I love being part of the company. And they're doing just fantastic things right here, headquartered in Pittsburgh. Few closing thoughts. One, as you look for mentors, remember there are others looking for mentoring, and they will come to you. They may be considering going to law school now. They're relatives of yours, they're kids of your friends. They'll want to talk to you, and you may begin a mentoring program to help other people. As you move along in your journey, you'll have opportunities to mentor people. I hope you'll take them up. The way mentoring works, there's karma. You get mentored, you do mentoring, and that keeps it all in balance. I think if you just did one or the other, it's not as good. Second thing, pro bono work. Jerry mentioned I've been on the board of the Pro Bono Institute. Pro bono is basically doing free legal work for people less fortunate than any of us who are here. And law firms and other lawyers give millions and millions and millions of dollars in free legal work to people like that who need it every year. And even more is needed than ever. So I would hope that you will find a way in your journey to be involved in pro bono work. It's part of the compact with society. The society needs you, and they need more from lawyers. And I can assure you, you will get way more out of it than you put into it. There's something about helping people that just, really makes things go. The third thing is, as lawyers, we don't talk about retirement. Lawyers don't retire. They do die, but they don't retire, okay? So in my house, we use the term semi-retired. Semi-retired sounds to me like I'm messing around all the time, which is kind of what it feels like. Semi-retired to my wife sounds like he's not here as much as I thought he would be. So it's a good phrase, but honestly, you will find lawyers, and you probably know some now, they're in their 80s, they're sharp, they work just like they always did, and they want to keep going. Same with judges, same with people who are on boards. So lawyers, it's a lifetime journey. Now, you can always taper it down when you want, but we don't retire. You go right from semi-retirement, and hopefully that's a long phase, to being dead. There's nothing in between those two things. And the last thing I'll say is, one of my original mentors was a wonderful guy at Bethany College named Forrest Kirkpatrick. And he told me something almost 50 years ago now, when I was just meeting him there. And it was, the key to a successful and happy life to him was to never underestimate your own potential. That has been burned into my mind ever since then. If there is one thing you remember today, it's that. Never underestimate your own potential. Others around you won't underestimate your potential. They'll actually think you can do things that you're not sure you can do. And that's happened to me a lot in my life. But I've always tried to remember, don't underestimate yourself. Don't underestimate your own potential. Live by that. It will make a big difference. I'm proud to be back at Pitt. I'm proud of Jerry as the dean. I hope you all have as much fun over the next 41 years as I've had over the last 41 years. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg, for that wonderful commencement speech. And I will note that I think I see Dan Booker in the back there somewhere. So you've got a lot of explaining to do on Hibble and Dibble here today. So with that being said, Greg, I do want to present you with a gift from Pitt Law. Thank you so much for all that you do for Pitt, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, well, we will now proceed to commencement. Commencement of the class of 2025. But before we do, I didn't write this, Dean Alley did. But before we do, I know many of you in the audience will want to take photographs. You're making me say this? Oh, okay. We will know you want to take photographs of the graduates. However, we ask that if you do leave your seat to take a picture, that you not block the view of other guests, all right? Please know that we have professionals taking pictures of every graduate and that our pictures will be available for graduates to order, all right? We have many students to honor and recognize today, of course, as you see many of them here. Some faculty will help recognize our students today. First, Professor Jay Hornak will read the names of the 2 certificate students and 7 participating Master of Studies in Law candidates. The Master of Studies in Law degree is for those interested in supplementing their current skills and knowledge with focused study of the basics of the law, as well as exploration of specialized legal and regulatory arenas. Then, Professors Ron Brand and Professor Chuck Katubi will assist in presenting a degree of Doctor of Juridical Sciences to 2 graduates of our doctoral program for foreign students, as well as presenting the 30th class of Master of Laws candidates, lawyers from other countries who have engaged in an intense year of graduate study in the American legal system. Finally, my 2 partners in the Dean's Suite, Vice Dean John Littorelli and Dean Allie Linsenmeyer, will read the names of the Juris Doctor candidates. All of the graduates will proceed across the stage to be congratulated and to receive a certificate of membership in the Law School's Alumni Association. I will now ask Professor Hornak to come forward to announce our certificate and MSL candidate names. Professor?
Good morning. As they move to the front here, let me just mention that there are 9 students who are completing the Master of Study in Law degree with various specializations based on their certificate. And then there are 4 students who have completed graduate certificates in healthcare compliance, human resources law, and corporate compliance. These students do not plan to practice law, but instead have studied the law in order to use it to advance their careers in fields such as banking, talent acquisition, and medicine. Because we're mostly online, our students live all over the U.S. That means that many of them are not able to join us in person today. So congratulations to all our graduates and their families out there watching via live stream. Ebony Dendy. Madeline Lothrington. Mandy Murphy. Tara Skeel. Danelle Deasy. Stephanie DiCarlo. Morgan Hines. Troy Johnson. Good to see you, buddy. Robert Corzon. Okay. Janet Lamanna. Rhonda Scholart. Emily Talego. And Alex Trower.
Thank you, Professor Hornak. I now ask Professors Brand and Katubi to come forward for the presentation of the LLM and SJD candidates.
So for the LLM class, we have 13 students from 11 different countries this year. First up, Kacha Mara Arujo de Barros. Esther Sabatini Asa. Aziz Bahish. Maria Bierenberg. Emily Broccoli. Shema Al-Hekmi. Olivier Kamga. Maya Marie Inga Kupferberg. Sarah Mattoon. Tatiana Mikalova. Linda Onwubenyu. Ahmed Sakar. And Eileen Serioglu.
It's my privilege to present the two recipients this year of the SJD degree, the Doctor of Juridical Science, a research doctorate, which is the highest degree awarded by the School of Law. They will be hooded by their doctoral chairs of their committees, Professor Christian Sundquist and Professor Mary Crosley. Faiz Abdullah Al-Mahadi. Hazem Michelle Al-Khatami Al-Tahabi.
And now Dean Linarelli and I will take turns reading the names of our JD candidates as they come forward. Yasmin Ahmed. Thomas Anthony. George Balchunas. Sharon Bosch. Connor Baumley. Chelsea Bolio. Christelle Becker. Taylor Becker. Sean Beagley. Thara Batia. Benjamin Blanks. Molly Bleach. Tanner Bowes. Oliver Brown. Madeline Bruce. Joseph Karna. Noah Clark. Kayla Collier. Tillman Cooper. Rachel Koval. Alex De Almeida. Murphy de Pompey. Jordan DeVivo. Riley Eisenhart. Samuel Ellis. Ryan Estatico. Jacob Evans. Sarah Ferguson. Cal Fernandez da Fonseca. Jordan Fields. Fisher Filipazzo. Jacob Fleming. Hannah Flory. Andrew Francis. Nicholas Franos. Jake Frazier. Jared Friedman. Vito Gentile. Elizabeth Georgilis. Grace Gianoli. Irakli Jergi. Noah Gonzalez. Elizabeth Goodrich. Avery Graham. Emily Grecu. Madeline Groff. Seppi Grugan. I'm going to now ask Dean Linarelli to come switch spots with me.
Greetings. So I've got K through Z, so here we go. Dylan Kim. Nope. Tina Kuzer. You're H. I don't have H. Okay, we'll do H. Robert Harbison. Mara Herbeck. Kevin Hills. Taylor Hines. Matthew Hladek. Alexandra Holland. Sophia Hood. Cindy Shea. Morgan Hubbard. I got two. Stephen Jacobus. Ryan Jaffe. Dylan Kim, finally. Okay. Tina Kuzer. Good. Bruce Kowalczyk. Lauren Kroc. Victoria Lai. Young Lan. Paige Lawler. Skylar Leffler. Yep. J.P. Leskovich. Caleb Lingenfelter. Melissa Lloyd. Eleanor Liu. Ambrose Litwich. Emily Maloney. Okay. Wow, we're moving fast. Okay. You guys want to get out of here, don't you? Your journey. Journey Matos. Ariel McGilvery. Eleanor Miller. Thank you. Ms. Mulcini. Jonathan Mulcini. Sophia Moritz. Hunter Mullins. Minu Nagasunagan. Matthew Neelan. Danny O'Byrne. Alexa Orban. Cole Parker. Hey. Turner Pipes. Logan Poland. Trunaya Porter. Aaron Rafferty. Chance Robinson. Dominic Rodriguez. Ben Rogers. Gabriel Rubio. Jacob Sass. Lucy Scalo. Joseph Scapolato. Ryan Schrage. Lexi Shapiro. Abigail Smith. Maximilian Snowden. Alexander Stabil. William Templin. Julie Toto. Ethan Underwood. Stephanie Vidal. Spencer Vinrow. Joseph Voynick. Alexander Valterman. Luke Watkins. Alex Weidenhoff. Benny Weiner. Caitlin Williams. Nicholas Williams. Quinn Willa Junipa. Paul Wimmer. Elijah Winborn. Logan Wood. Margot Wright. Shayna Yogman. Brandon Zabo.
A lot of name cards here. Okay. All right. And now the moment that we all been waiting for. With the class of 2025, please rise. And move your tassels from the right to the left. All right. And by the authority vested in me as the Dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Law, I now pronounce you graduates of the School of Law. Congratulations to all of you. Okay. All right, please be seated. It is now my pleasure to invite my good friend and Pitt Law alum, Tony Thompson, President of the University of Pittsburgh Law Alumni Association and proud member of the class of 2004, to share a few words of welcome with our graduates. So, Tony.
Good afternoon, graduates and everyone and family and friends. So, I'd like to greet you and welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh Law Alumni Association. I know this is a momentous occasion, and I wish you all the best in your future careers. I've spoken to many of you before, so again, congratulations. And just briefly, things have changed so much in the nearly 20 years that I've been out of law school. And things are going to change even more 20 years from now in your careers, especially given the emergence of AI, among other things. But several things have remained the same. When I attended Pitt Law, I had outstanding professors, just as you did. I received a first-class education, just as you did. And I graduated with a ready-made group of colleagues, my fellow graduates. They helped ease the transition from the classroom to practice. They provided guidance, friendship, job tips, and sometimes moral support as I navigated the busy practice of law in my legal career and family. Now, several of my Pitt Law grads are colleagues in the legal department. Now, these friendships and relationships have endured, and I've learned from them and other graduates, just as I will learn from you. Now, the bond of being a Pitt Law grad is a strong and a permanent one. Your collective experiences, accomplishments, and achievements at Pitt Law were extraordinary and were supported by many. Now, you carry on a great tradition of exceptional lawyers, trailblazers, and zealous advocates who have made a real difference in our world. So we, as fellow graduates, welcome you to the bar and to the University of Pittsburgh Law Alumni Association. And through this association, we support the efforts of the law school and its students. We provide networking and educational programs for our graduates, and we highlight the achievements of our alumni, and we create mentoring opportunities. So, welcome, and come join us. And again, congratulations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tony, for your message to our graduates and all the good work that you and your fellow alumni do for Pitt Law. We truly do appreciate UPLA and all they do for Pitt Law. That concludes our formal ceremonies. The stage party will withdraw first, followed by the graduates and then our guests. To our newest graduates, you have our congratulations, our best wishes, and our highest hopes. To all of our guests, thank you again, family and friends, for being here, for joining us in this celebration of achievement. I hope that you will now join us on the first floor of the law school, the Barco building, for a reception in honor of this amazing 2025 class. Thank you so much.